Hello everybody and welcome to Uprising 144K. Guys, before I begin, I'm not giving you any medical advice, I'm not making any medical claims, and everything stated on this video today are the opinions of the speaker and should not be construed as claims for or against any product or products. And with that being said, guys, a lot of people have been asking me about hydrogen bottles in general, always asking me what the best one is, and a lot of people have been asking about this echogo one. So this is going to be a little bit of a long video because there's a lot to cover, but if you want the simple answer, in my opinion, no, this bottle is not good. If you just want to know, oh, is it good or not? That's all I want to know. In my opinion, no, it's not good. My other opinion, unfortunately, is that there are no good little bottles out there at this time. Maybe in the future there will be. When there are, I will definitely let you know. Now I'm going to go into the video in detail and explain to you why I don't think they're good. Now, again, these are just my opinions, but I'm basing this on a lot. I'm a big science guy, guys, a big nerd on this, and I've been researching hydrogen for a long time, and I think the biggest mistake that people make is they can tell you how amazing hydrogen is, just like this bottle. It goes and tells you, hey, it reduces oxidative stress, inflammation, helps with gut health, helps with brain function, increases energy, lowers athletic fatigue, improves sleep, faster recovery. Wow, pretty bold claims. Now, does that what hydrogen does? Well, yeah, it really does appear that hydrogen does that. Then what's the problem with the bottle? Well, what I don't think people realize is how you make hydrogen matters. Think about it. It's just like anything. Let's say we're talking about beef. Do you think all beef is the same? Do you think that if it's grass-fed, grass-finished, they're not injecting a bunch of hormones into the cow? Well, then the beef's going to be different. In this case, we're talking about gases. Molecular hydrogen is a gas, just like oxygen. Now, with oxygen, you go to a hospital. They have true medical grade oxygen. You go to some place where they do welding and they have oxygen tanks too, and that is not medical grade. Do you know what the difference between medical grade and non-medical grade is? It actually comes down to purity. And that's the part we're going to get into, because if you really think, and boy, they sell these for $250. I believe I have one here. I think you can get them for about 50 bucks. I actually have my own little bottle here, because what happens is these companies actually buy products from other companies. Now, I'm not saying this is what they're doing, but this is, in my opinion, what's happening, because I've seen this company do this a lot. They just buy products from other companies and then they put their names on it or whatever. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get started. Now, for people who are like, always follow the money, look, technically, if financially it would be in my best interest to actually promote every single hydrogen product under the sun, and that way I could make a lot of money. I have been offered a lot of money throughout the years. This channel is solely dedicated to giving you the right information about hydrogen. I'm not going to be biased. I only want to give you the best information because I love hydrogen because of what it's done for me and people that I personally care about. And personally, I feel it really did save my life. I ended up researching it for a long time, a big part of my life, and I've really become quite like an expert in this field, and not just on hydrogen, but actually how to make it properly is the biggest thing. And it's actually really complex. So I'm going to go into a few things of why I don't like this particular product and why I personally wouldn't use it. Again, just my opinion. So let's first start with, it clearly directly electrolyzes the water. That's something that I don't like. I will say that I'm really happy that they didn't tell people, because other companies have, they tell people, hey, you can inhale the gas coming off these bottles. And that's a really bad idea, in my opinion, when you directly electrolyze, because of the way, it's not the purest way to do it. That's the reason that there are no good bottles actually out there at this time, because they all basically use the same design and premise. And I'm glad that they didn't tell you that you could inhale the gas. However, I will tell you that if you're going to use hydrogen, you don't just want hydrogen water, you want the gas inhalation option. I'll show you later, if you want, what it is that I personally use, and not just me, what a true hydrogen expert in Japan, an actual practicing physician, not just somebody who claims to be a hydrogen expert in America, because there are no true practicing physicians in America that actually really know what they're doing, in my opinion. So let me show you, first of all, the first thing I don't like about this product. Right here, platinum coated titanium. I bet you would have not caught this, right? Oh, real high quality. Look, they even tell you safe. It's safe, guys. Okay, let me tell you why I don't like platinum coated, as what I would call it, is it's plated metal, okay? Why don't I like plated metal? First of all, do you even know where these metals are coming from? My personal guess, and I feel really confident in this, but I'm not making any claims today, is that it's coming from China, right? In my opinion. Why? Because I know the maker of the bottles, and they're made in China, guys. Now, sometimes some companies can get away with saying they're made elsewhere. I won't go into the details of how they're able to do that, but this metal appears to be coming from China. They do not have the best metal technology. In order to make the proper metals for such equipment, it is not going to be a $200-something device or $50 device or whatever. We're talking a really high-end metal. I would never use stainless steel. I would never use a plated metal. And I'll show you later what it is that I use if you want, like I said. But that's my first concern, because when you're directly running electrical current through, when you're ionizing this water with the metal, in my opinion, when it's plated like that, and low quality metals, you're running the risk of it basically potentially flaking off into the water. And then that's not something I would want to be consuming. This is not something I think a true medical professional would be recommending. Okay, and just because someone's a doctor doesn't mean that they're an actual hydrogen specialist. They didn't teach you anything about hydrogen in school, all right? Medical school. Next thing I'm concerned with is these SPE-PEM membranes. Now, the reason that this is a concern to me is because I know the company that makes all these membranes for everybody, and they make different qualities. Now, am I going to guess that they use the highest quality in this one? I'm going to guess they didn't, but let's just say they did. I actually got to see a lab report where they tested the membranes, and they tested the highest, most expensive, best membrane from these companies. Again, I'm not going to name the names. And they came up positive for PFAS. People are like, well, what's PFAS? Well, let me show you. So PFAS, I'll just tell you right here. A National Toxicology Program review found that exposure to, and it's basically abbreviated PFOA or PFOS, they just call them forever chemicals or PFAS, is an immune hazard to humans based on a high level of evidence that PFAS or PFOA suppress the antibody response from animals and a moderate level of evidence from studies in humans. Let me just tell you right now, this is something that nobody's really trying to talk about. Some people try to hide the fact that they're either plating their metals, they hide the fact of what membranes they're using. I think I'm probably the only guy in the whole industry really trying to share this information, though in Japan they're well aware of it, and I'll get into that in a second. Okay, so this device again doesn't offer inhalation. Let's look at the metal that they're using. The structure of the metal actually matters, but what they do, and I'll just show you from this device that I have here because it's the same stuff. You'll see that in the future, but see how it's just a circular piece of metal and they just got a bunch of holes punched into it. That is definitely not the best way to do it. Now, are they trying to make the best one? Well, if they are, in my opinion, they're failing, or they're just trying to make it cheap so they can sell them. As you can imagine, this is, it's always about the money, and I hate that because to make proper hydrogen, yes, it's going to be more expensive. But if you're wanting what I would call medical grade, really high-end hydrogen, you're going to have to spend more. And the fact that you can even do it for less than $3,000 these days is a really big deal, because back in the day, you would not be able to accomplish that. And now you can do it. In fact, here, I'll just show you what I use. It's from a website called holyhydrogen.com. It's the #1 machine in Japan. This is the one that, for example, there's a neurosurgeon by the name of Dr. Adachi. This guy is an actual practicing physician, an actual hydrogen specialist. He says this is literally the only machine that he will use, and it's the only one that he recommends for his patients. Why? Because he says the purity of the hydrogen is so important because it goes past the blood-brain barrier. So look how it says right here, the highest purity, medical grade. It's the only lab tested. So every single machine gets lab tested and certified. Do you really think that they're lab testing every single one of these little bottles? No way. It's actually too expensive. Nobody does that. This is the only company in the world that does it. It's the reason that top-notch doctors in Japan, this is what they trust. That's the reason it's the #1 machine in Japan. Not to mention, it's not made in China. The guy who really went into all this, he wanted to do it, actually, I found out, for his daughter. She was very sick. And this is a 100% engineered and hand-built in Japan. No plated chemicals, no chemicals like lye or sodium hydroxide. Everything is to the highest standards, guys, and following the science in regards to hydrogen. And you can inhale the gas from this one too. It does both. You get to inhale the hydrogen gas, you get to make the water, and the amount of water matters. And I'm gonna get into that too. Let's just get into that now. Because again, so I'm not really fond of these membranes. Let's talk about, well, we could talk about really quickly the ppm. ppm is very misleading. What you really want to understand is you want to understand the amount, yes, ppm, but in relation to the amount of water. So the truth is that you should probably using always 1 liter of water to measure, because once it's smaller amounts, which is what they're doing here, and that's why it's misleading, it's only 10 ounces. And so it has to be in relation to 1 liter to really compare apples to apples, as if you really want, in my opinion, to understand this whole subject more clearly and not have them confuse the subject. All right, so moving on. I will tell you this is kind of interesting. This is not obviously any article I did, but I did find it because I found some kind of not so great things about Echo. Now, look, I personally don't care. I don't care about this company or who owns it or anything. All I care about in the end is good products. That's literally all I care about. I could care less about who owns something, and maybe even who makes it, as long as it's a top-notch product. And in my opinion, this is definitely not it. So there is an interesting article here that they write about Echo. Echo, otherwise known as Synergy Science. You know, they did some things that I saw this in the past. And in my opinion, it's some shenanigans. Somebody, I don't know, I think they said something about they were owners of the company for years and they were making a lot of claims. And I remember seeing the product and saw the claims that they were making. And I'll tell you right now, I was highly suspicious, and it turned out that I was right. The machine ended up being a bunch of crap. It even said, amazingly, I'm just reading here, amazingly, the owner of Synergy Science, Paul Baratiero, managed to persuade some dealers from the rather more established Enagic to work for him, selling Echo water machines. Once those experienced dealers realized that they were expected to promote whatever, it goes into this whole story. But the major problem is that they just had a bunch of problems with the machines. And beware that, you know, it's the most alarming part of the Echo machine, and they would get really hot, and they didn't make the hydrogen that they were claiming, and, you know, a lot of shenanigans. I just remember, you know, I'll just link this article below. You guys can read about it. Maybe they changed their ways. Maybe they're doing better with their machines. But to be quite honest with you, I don't think this is their machine. And I say that because I have a machine right here, and it doesn't have the name of their product, but all the numbers and all the information are actually the same amount of hydrogen, the same way that they're making it. It's a Chinese device. It's, in my opinion, it's just a gimmick. It's just not something that's going to be true hydrogen. And my concern, and this has always been my concern because I've learned throughout the years of researching how to make hydrogen properly, my biggest concern is that this could cause potential issues. Just like, I mean, look at this one, you know, just like, you know, maybe they had issues with this, or maybe it could be unsafe for people, whatever, right? I don't know. But with these type of devices, that's my concern. Now, if you drink water from it once, do I think it's going to kill you or something? No, I don't think that's going to happen. But the problem is that hydrogen is a lot like drinking water. You're going to be drinking water most likely every day. So you want the cleanest water. You don't want any residues. You want high purity because you're going to use it every day. In order to get benefits from hydrogen, well, that's exactly what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to use it regularly. And I would not want to use this regularly with the metals that they're using, with the direct ionization, and the fact that it doesn't even offer the hydrogen gas inhalation. So I'm kind of hoping that this helps you guys understand why I'm not really fond of these bottles. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, it's free, and it helps support my channel. And I've been really trying to do this to give you guys the right information and not be biased or be persuaded, quote unquote, by the money. And by the way, I forgot to mention this one part. We were talking about membranes, and this device also uses a membrane, but this one has a very special, unique membrane that nobody in this industry uses. Same thing for the metal, the whole design. This doesn't electrolyze the water at all. It's made like this for many reasons, no chemicals. It's actually really remarkable what they've done here, but nobody in the whole hydrogen industry has even come close. Does that make the device cost more? Well, yes, of course. Now, the membrane, I was able to actually see a lab report also. It is an actual Japanese membrane. The ones that are being used on all the other products, such as these bottles, and go ahead and ask what they're using. Like I said, I know what membranes they're using, but I don't want to make any claims, so I'm not going to say the name of them. All I'll tell you is that it's not a Japanese membrane. This Japanese membrane is second to none. It is literally the best in the industry that I've ever seen. When I saw the lab test, it shows 0 PFAS. And the structure of it, the way that it makes the nanobubbles, they're actually doing things, and I'll be making a video in the near future because I want to get my hand on one of these so badly. I don't have one yet. When I get my hands on one of these, I'm going to do a full review for you guys. If you want, just comment below if you want a full review on this. You know, again, give the video a thumbs up and all that, and I'll do one of these reviews hopefully in the near future. And I'll explain to you some of the technology and some of the stuff they're doing with this, which is so unbelievable. They're doing stuff that I actually thought wasn't even possible. And my understanding is that they didn't even think it was possible. And they made huge breakthroughs. It's really exciting. This is literally, in my opinion, a joke compared to something like that. It's just not even a contest, not even close. But hopefully that answered everybody's questions. Thanks for supporting the channel, everybody who was asking about this. And if you have more questions, just comment below. And I know, I'm not really sure about this, by the way, but I heard that some people told me that I think Dana White, I'm not totally sure. I was told that he's promoting this. So I hope And I don't really care about all the financial stuff. I just hope that he understands and finds out that if he really wants his athletes or people that he knows to get the real hydrogen, sorry, but this is just not it. And I know people try to listen to people that they trust, and sometimes it's best to not do that. I think it's best to go just look at the data, look at the science, understand what you're talking about, and really show the proper technology. It doesn't come down to the person, guys. It doesn't even come down to the company. It comes down to the product. And this product is just, unfortunately, in my opinion, not the one that I would personally use. Okay, guys, so that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time on the next one.